Hi everyone, I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo.
Welcome back to the English Blend. We are so excited to be chatting with you all today.
We love Mondays, not because of the work, but because we get to talk to all of you.
Exactly. And Leo, how's your morning going?
Not bad. I made coffee and I'm ready to talk about today's topic. I actually got up early today. Very unusual for me.
Oh, wow. Did you hit the ground running? We should define that later.
I tried to. I really did. I managed to drink my coffee before it got cold, which for me is a major victory on a Monday.
That is a win. You have to celebrate those small victories, right?
Exactly. So grab your coffee or tea or whatever makes you happy and let's get started.
Today's topic is something that is, quite honestly, the number one thing you will be asked when you are speaking English.
It is the foundational small talk of the English-speaking world.
We are talking about your weekend in English. It seems simple, right? How was your weekend? But the answer often feels awkward for learners.
Absolutely, because the most common answer we hear is usually, it was fine, or it was okay, and that immediately kills the conversation.
It stops the flow dead in its tracks. And our goal here at the English Blend is to make sure your conversations are always flowing and sound natural.
We want you to be able to tell a mini story about your 2 days off, not just give a one-word answer.
Think of it like a puzzle piece. When you answer, you are giving the other person a piece of information they can use to ask the next question. If you just say, it was fine, the puzzle piece is blank.
A blank puzzle piece. I like that analogy. So our hook question for today is, does talking about your relaxing weekend sometimes feel more stressful than the actual workday?
I think it does, Leo, because it forces you to use the past simple tense correctly, and learners often worry about the grammar.
They do. All those irregular verbs and ed endings can be intimidating, but we're going to show you how to handle it naturally, with confidence, and with a little bit of humor.
Okay, let's dive into the vocabulary. When someone asks you, how was your weekend? They're essentially asking which category your weekend fell into. Category 1, the active, busy, or productive weekend, and Category 2, the relaxed, rested, or lazy weekend.
Let's start with category 2, the one we all dream of, relaxation.
If you had a relaxing weekend, you need words that truly emphasize that feeling of rest and low effort.
My favorite verb for this, and one that is used constantly in everyday English, is to chill or chilling out.
Can you define to chill out for our listeners simply, Leo?
Sure. When we say we are chilling out, it means we are relaxing completely. We are making no major efforts. We aren't doing anything difficult or stressful. It's very informal, but everyone uses it.
So instead of saying, my weekend was just okay, you can say, I mainly just chilled out this weekend.
Yes, and notice that we use the phrasal verb, chilled out. This sounds super natural.
You could also say, I spent the whole weekend just chilling. Notice the shift to the continuous tense here, just chilling, to emphasize the duration of the relaxation.
That's a subtle but important point. It shows the relaxation was ongoing. I was just chilling all day Sunday.
Another really useful phrase for showing deep relaxation is to put my feet up.
I love that one. It's visual, which helps us remember it. It means you are sitting down, probably on a sofa or in a comfortable chair, literally elevating your legs to rest. It signals no work is happening. If someone is putting their feet up, you know they're serious about resting.
So, if I ask you about your Saturday, Mia, you might say, I was exhausted after last week, so I spent Saturday just putting my feet up and watching old black and white movies.
Exactly. And not uses the past simple naturally, spent, and watching, in the continuous tense. You're using specific verbs to describe specific, relaxing actions. Now, let's quickly contrast that with category 1, the active, busy weekend.
The busy weekend. This often involves a lot of moving around, a lot of tasks, maybe fun social events, but definitely no quiet time.
If your weekend was busy because of necessary tasks, you might say you were running errands.
Running errands is a key term here. This means doing necessary small tasks, like going to the pharmacy, dropping mail at the post office, picking up groceries, or taking clothes to the dry cleaner. They are not necessarily enjoyable, but they are essential.
So a good answer would be, my weekend was busy. I spent most of Saturday running errands and then cleaning the house. That immediately signals activity and purpose.
Another phrase for busy weekends is if you were socializing a lot. You might say, I caught up with some old friends.
The phrase to catch up is absolutely vital. It means you haven't seen them in a while and you're exchanging recent news and stories.
It implies a long, meaningful conversation, not just a quick, hello.
We need to underline this one. Don't just say, I saw my friends. Say, I caught up with my friends. It shows a greater command of natural English vocabulary.
It adds depth. If I hear, I caught up, I know you were sitting there drinking coffee or having lunch for an hour or two.
It's a cultural note, too. In English-speaking cultures, we prioritize catching up after a busy period. We use that time to reconnect.
That's so true. In fact, Leo, talking about the weekend is less about the actual activities sometimes and more about the social ritual.
It is. It's often the first thing people ask on Monday morning, even before how are you or good morning.
It's a formality, a conversation starter, a way to show casual interest without getting too personal.
And because it's a social ritual, having a few prepared, specific sentences is a huge advantage for English learners.
It lets you handle that social ritual smoothly. It makes you feel confident and keeps the conversation flowing naturally.
Let's move to some specific examples of how to combine these verbs into fluent answers.
Okay, let's take our imaginary learner, Alex. Alex had an incredibly productive weekend. How should he respond on Monday?
He needs strong past simple verbs and specific details. Instead of I did things, he needs to I did specific things.
Right. Give us an example, Leo.
On Saturday morning, I woke up early. I went to the farmer's market to buy vegetables. Then I spent the afternoon volunteering.
Excellent. Woke up, went, spent. All clear past simple verbs.
And the time markers Saturday morning, the afternoon are perfect. They help the listener picture the timeline, which is the definition of conversational storytelling.
What if Alex had a completely lazy, restorative weekend?
He should lean into verbs of non-activity or enjoyable inactivity. I slept in late on Sunday. I read a fantastic book, and I didn't leave the house once.
Slept in is fantastic. We must define that again. It means you woke up much later than usual, specifically because you had no responsibilities or alarms. It is the sign of pure, glorious rest.
It truly signals enjoyment. Saying I slept in is much more satisfying than just I woke up late. It has a positive connotation.
It really shows you utilized the weekend for your benefit.
We have to emphasize how much changing one verb choice can completely change the tone of the dialogue. Think about this. I ate food and watched TV, which sounds boring and passive.
Versus, I cooked a new elaborate recipe for 3 hours and then I binge watched that new historical drama on Hulu.
Ah, binge watched. We must make sure our listeners know this one. It's essential modern vocabulary. Binge watched means watching many episodes or seasons of a show continuously, usually without stopping. It implies dedication and a little bit of obsession.
And using that term shows you are connected to current conversational trends. It shows you're a natural communicator.
It's so much more descriptive. If I hear binge watched, I know you committed your entire Sunday to that couch.
And that's fine. Sometimes you need a dedicated binge watch day to truly recharge your batteries. We will get to that idiom shortly.
Speaking of commitment, another great way to describe an octave weekend is saying you were caught in a whirlwind of activity.
Ooh, a strong descriptive noun. A whirlwind implies movement and chaos, but often exciting chaos.
So you might say, it was a whirlwind of activities. 2 parties, a concert, and a major grocery shop. That tells me everything I need to know in one sentence.
I love that. It saves time but paints a vivid picture.
Okay, let's get into the practical step-by-step application. We have 4 actionable steps for our listeners to take the conversation beyond that dreaded, "It was fine."
These are techniques you can use immediately on Monday morning. They are about structure and social tactics.
Practical tip 1. Give a 2-part answer. Activity plus feeling or reason.
This is the most crucial step. Don't just say the activity. You must include how the activity made you feel or, crucially, why you did it.
If you just say, "I went shopping," the listener says, "Okay, conversation over." But if you say, "I went shopping because I needed to buy new shoes for a wedding, and honestly, it was exhausting."
Now the listener knows the reason. Wedding shoes. And the emotional tone. Exhausting. This invites a follow-up question naturally.
I might ask, "Oh, what kind of wedding? Is it black tie, or did you find the shoes though?" See, the conversation has life now.
Let's try it with resting. Instead of "I stayed home," try "I stayed home all day. I absolutely needed to truly recharge my batteries after that stressful presentation last week."
To recharge my batteries is perfect here. It explains the reason for the inactivity. The listener understands the deep necessity of the rest.
It turns laziness into a strategic act of self-care. That's a good conversation bridge.
This is necessary for sounding truly natural. In English small talk, you never just answer the question. You must immediately return it to the other person.
If you don't, you sound passive or uninterested. It's a very important social dynamic.
A simple "and you" or "what about you" is perfectly acceptable, especially if you are feeling nervous. But we encourage slightly more contextual variations to sound even smoother.
For example, after describing your Saturday, "That was my Saturday, but what did you get up to?"
"What did you get up to" is a lovely, natural phrase for asking what someone did.
Or after complaining about how tired you are, "I definitely needed the rest. Did you have a more exciting weekend than I did?"
That's great because you're contrasting your experiences, which creates a basis for comparison and further discussion.
This technique also buys you a few precious seconds to plan your next line if you need to elaborate further. It takes the pressure off.
It makes the dialogue balanced, which is essential for a real conversation flow.
This is your life raft if your last weekend was truly genuinely boring. Maybe you just did laundry.
You pivot quickly to the future. Using the structure, "My last weekend was quiet, but I'm going to do activity next weekend."
This requires practicing the near future tense. I'm going to or I plan to.
Let's practice. "I didn't do much, just clean the apartment, but I'm going to see a major blockbuster movie next Saturday, and I've been looking forward to it all week."
Perfect. You didn't lie about your quiet weekend, but you immediately provided exciting, positive material for the listener to react to.
And if you are still focusing on sounding natural, remember those conversational fillers, like, just vacuumed and tidied up.
Fillers like "you know" or "I mean" are vital for making the speech sound spontaneous rather than scripted.
If all else fails, talk about food. Everyone eats. Everyone loves talking about food. It's safe ground.
It's a guaranteed conversation starter. Even if you were home alone, you still ate.
You can say, "I had a pretty quiet one, but I finally perfected my mom's secret chili recipe on Sunday. It took me 3 hours."
Finally perfected. That's powerful. It shows accomplishment and effort.
Or, if you ate out, "I tried a new vegetarian place on Friday night. The food was incredible, but the service was so slow."
That introduces a great element. Contrast incredible food versus terrible service. That naturally prompts the other speaker to react. "Oh no, really? How slow was it?"
Remember to use descriptive adjectives. Incredible, terrible, delicious, exhausting. Adjectives add the flavor to the conversation.
So let's break down tip 1 again, Mia. We talked about the 2-part answer. Why is that specific structure so much better than a 1-part answer?
It's about providing the why. If you only say, "I went to the park," I just know the activity. It's static.
Right, but if you say,
I went to the park because I needed some fresh air. You've given me insight into your state of mind.
It's the difference between reporting an action and sharing an experience. We want our listeners to share experiences.
And tip 2, the bounce back technique, is purely social. It's about demonstrating interest.
If you don't ask the other person about their weekend, the conversation feels heavy. It feels like you're expecting them to interview you.
And we want natural dialogue, which is always balanced. So remember to ask them back. What about you? Did you do anything fun?
Let's try a full example combining tip 1 and tip 2. Leo, how was your weekend?
Well, I had an incredibly productive one. I spent all Saturday organizing my study, which was exhausting, but I feel so much better now that it's done. Did you manage to relax at all?
That's perfect. You gave the action, organizing, the feeling, exhausting, the reason or result feels better, and then you bounced it back perfectly.
Thank you. That's exactly the kind of fluency we're aiming for.
Time for some power vocabulary. These are the phrases that make you sound like a native speaker, the high-value expressions.
This is the opposite of a relaxing weekend. To hit the ground running means you start something immediately and vigorously, without wasting a single second.
It suggests high energy and commitment from the very first moment.
We most often use this on Monday morning. You came into work and you immediately started working at top speed.
You don't have that slow, gentle transition from weekend mode to work mode. You jump right in.
Example sentence. I had such a busy weekend that I had to come into the office this morning ready to hit the ground running.
It's a great expression to use if you want to emphasize your productivity.
You could even use it about the weekend itself. We started our road trip at 5 a.m. and hit the ground running to beat the traffic.
This is our lovely metaphor for recovery. We introduced it earlier, but let's look closer.
To recharge my batteries means to recover your strength, energy, or mental focus, especially after a period of intense work or stress.
We use it often when we talk about doing nothing. Doing nothing is the action we take to get back to full power, like plugging in a phone.
If your batteries are low, you are tired. If you are recharging them, you are recovering.
Example sentence. I really needed that quiet Sunday just to recharge my batteries before the madness of the new financial quarter began.
It is fantastic because it's clear, professional, yet still friendly and natural.
It also gives a positive spin to staying home. I didn't go out. I was just strategically recharging my batteries.
We mentioned this descriptive idiom earlier. This is for the ultimate busy weekend.
A whirlwind is a column of wind that spins around very fast. Therefore, a whirlwind weekend is one that felt fast, chaotic, possibly tiring, and packed full of activities.
You didn't have time to breathe, but usually those activities were fun or exciting.
Example sentence. It was a total whirlwind weekend. We went to a wedding, hosted a huge family dinner, and I had to squeeze in my workout. I'm still recovering.
See how that single phrase, whirlwind weekend, communicates massive action and speed? It's efficient communication.
Using specific nouns like whirlwind makes your English sound much more nuanced and descriptive.
This is a crucial phrasal verb when talking about things you didn't do.
To put off means to postpone or delay doing something, usually because you don't want to do it or you ran out of time.
This is great for tip 3, when you are bridging to the future. You are explaining why you will do something next weekend.
Example. I really wanted to clean the garage this weekend, but I was so tired, I just put it off until next Saturday.
This is extremely relatable. Everyone puts things off. It connects you instantly with the listener on a human level.
It's honest, natural, and uses a very common phrasal verb.
Let's practice using the past simple with these phrases. Mia, if you had a very slow weekend, you recharged your batteries.
Yes, and if I was extremely productive, I hit the ground running on Saturday morning.
If you had an overwhelming number of activities, you had a whirlwind weekend.
And if you didn't do something you were supposed to.
Let's practice using the past simple with these phrases. Mia, if you had a very slow weekend, you recharged your batteries.
Yes, and if I was extremely productive, I hit the ground running on Saturday morning.
If you had an overwhelming number of activities, you had a whirlwind weekend.
And if you didn't do something you were supposed to do, you put it off.
perfect conjugation and usage. Notice how these phrases replace much longer explanations. They are verbal shortcuts.
And remember the structure of the conversation, everyone. When you are asked, give a short, specific answer using one of these phrases or the strong verbs we discussed.
Then, provide a reason or a feeling. I had a whirlwind weekend because my sister was visiting and she wanted to see everything.
And, most importantly, ask them back. What about you? Did you manage to relax?
That's the entire lesson condensed. Action, reason, bounce back.
That was a great talk, Leo. We covered so much ground today, and I feel like our listeners have a toolkit ready for Monday morning.
I agree. We moved beyond that flat, conversation-killing phrase, "it was fine," to using specific, descriptive, and flowing language about the weekend.
Our main takeaway is simple. Move past simple answers and use strong verbs and descriptive language. Try to use chilled out, slept in, ran errands, and caught up.
And remember the social structure. Give a two-part answer, activity plus context, and always, always bounce the question back using the "and you" technique.
Absolutely. And try to incorporate one of those fantastic power phrases we discussed, recharge my batteries or whirlwind weekend, into your English practice this week.
The only way to truly master these conversational skills, especially these idioms, is to use them daily. Don't wait for a perfect formal moment. Try them in your next casual chat.
Even if you just talk to yourself in the mirror about your weekend, practice those past simple verbs and those descriptive adjectives.
We know English learning can sometimes feel overwhelming, but remember that every casual conversation, especially about weekends, is an opportunity to practice and improve.
And we want to hear from you. We encourage you to drop a comment below this video and tell us, what are you planning for next weekend using the "I'm going to" structure, incorporating tip 3.
Yes, let's practice that future tense. What are you planning to do that you might currently be putting off?
We love reading your comments and seeing you use the vocabulary we teach. It makes our job incredibly rewarding.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The English Blend. We appreciate you spending your time with us.
We will be back next week, and we're shifting gears completely. We're going to be talking about how to politely disagree in English.
That is a crucial topic for professional settings. How do you say, "I think you're wrong," without sounding rude? Don't miss it.
Definitely. Until then, keep practicing, keep blending your English skills, and have a fantastic week.
Yes, see you in the next episode of The English Blend.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao!